Hey everybody, Alex Kazora, SteelersDepot.com, back with some Pittsburgh Steelers tape breakdown and analysis. Today I want to talk about Pat Freiermuth, the man I do not discuss on the channel all that much, but is the trusty security blanket for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and, encouragingly was used more downfield this past season compared to his rookie year. But today I want to talk about what I think makes Pat Freiermuth such an effective route runner and receiver, and I kind of put that in three buckets: A, his feel and leverage; B, the stems of his route; and C, his tempo that creates space. Let's break it down. And as I get to the first clip, if you guys could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I'd appreciate that. I'm also going to try to do a much better job to spotlight and highlight these players. Got some comments you guys want a better feel for where I'm talking about each player. So Pat Freiermuth is right here, and we're going to watch this play against the Jets. This is a third down situation, 3rd and 4, and just watch him feel where this Mike linebacker's at and drift away as he breaks and turns back to the quarterback. So he's creating that space there away from the linebacker, C.J. Mosley. Again, here's Pat Freiermuth, and you're going to see him just at the top of his break, not just sit and settle, but he's going to kind of lean away a little bit right there just so he's not allowing this linebacker to sit and attack downhill and be able to really contest this throw well. And it's a completion, a good read there from Trubisky to Freiermuth, who's finding that space between the linebacker and the nickel corner here. And it turns into a 6-yard gain on 3rd and 4, and Pittsburgh moves the sticks. So it's subtle, it's small, it's not this giant, super obvious thing. But again, just to show you guys one more time here, you're seeing him know that the Mike linebacker is settling in this middle zone in this cover 2 scheme. So we're going to work away from him and just create enough space for Freiermuth to move the sticks. Next clip comes against Miami on the road in October. Here is Freiermuth to the slot, number 2 to the bottom in this 2x2 set. And last example was more about leverage and feel. You're going to get some of that here, but it's really more about the stem of Freiermuth's route that creates the space here against this defender on this outbreaking concept. So you're going to watch Freiermuth be able to stem inside, sell inside enough to hold number 42, and that's going to create space for Freiermuth as he breaks outside on this out route, corner route, whatever exactly you want to call it, and be able to create the separation in a well-thrown ball by Kenny Pickett to pick up the first down. You're going to see Freiermuth fall out of frame here for just a moment, but once the play gets going, we're going to be able to better see that stem. So I'll run this one through, and there's Freiermuth right here, and you see how where the eyes are at, where their hips are out, he's accelerating, he's not slowing down, he's really selling like he's going to run something, maybe an over the ball Hank type of route, something more inside leverage here on 42, and that's going to get him to not turn his hips, but hold and commit. And then when Freiermuth breaks to the outside, that's how he creates his space on this route. So just enough subtlety here, just enough of kind of a sell to hold number 42, and then whenever Freiermuth is able to plant and burst to the outside, that's creating space in a well-thrown ball by Kenny Pickett. 3rd and 7 against the Bengals. Here is Freiermuth to the bottom, number 2 in this 2x2 set. And this is really, I think, Freiermuth just kind of converting his route based on, the leverage that he has and really the space that he has on this play. The Bengals, showing aggressive blitz. They bail out of it, playing cover 2, but you're going to see Freiermuth. I think his route's supposed to be basically, running to the corner or running more downfield, but he's just going to settle because he knows there's no one around him. He can just get open by just sitting down, showing Pickett his numbers, and converting basically at the sticks. And I think pre-snap here, you're kind of getting these zone indicators. You do see Bates follow Freiermuth on the motion, but doesn't really follow him back as he returns. And so that's probably keying and cluing Freiermuth that there might be a zone blitz here, or they're bluffing and they're bailing, so I'm not getting man coverage. And so he's just going to sit down in this soft spot right here and just, basically turn his shoulders, get Pickett's attention, and pick up this first down. And so I think he kind of broke this route off. I don't know if that was the design, because you watch number 2 at the top. Granted, it's Deontay Johnson, but you're seeing him run a different route. And so it appears to be more of a mirrored concept where maybe Freiermuth would have run more of an out route or kind of, run a bit more outside, but he's just going to kind of stop, settle with all this space here because of that bluff pressure, that sim pressure the Bengals were showing pre-snap, and picks up this first down on 3rd and 7. Just a good high IQ play to, we're not going to get fancy, we're going to break the route off, we're going to get open, we're going to convert. There's really good examples of Freiermuth's kind of nuance as a route runner in this win against the Colts, which was a primetime game. So here is Freiermuth to the top, 3-by-1. He's aligned as the number 2. We're going to watch him against Kenny Moore, one of the top slot corners in football. Obviously, Moore is a better athlete, so how do you create some space? You're going to do that here with some tempo, and so you're going to see Freiermuth come off the line a little bit slower and then kind of burst at the top. And some of that might be a little bit conceptual with the distribution of this route, but I think it's probably more Freiermuth just changing his tempo of this route. So real slow off the ball and then just breaking and bursting inside just to try to create that space and basically out leverage Kenny Moore so he can't drive on a route. He's kind of sitting there a bit, I don't want to say flat-footed, but he's pedaling, he's waiting, he doesn't know exactly what Freiermuth wants to do. And so just that small change in tempo, which you're going to see from receivers, pretty commonly, you're seeing from Freiermuth as well, and that's how you're going to, be able to make these plays against these more athletic slot corners. Really good example of Freiermuth's feel on this play, and here he's going to be lined to the bottom again, 2-by-2 balance set. And what I like here is it's not as much tempo and leverage, but it's just him understanding whenever he catches his football, he knows this cornerback is in the flat. He's not, deep third, and so he understands when he catches his ball, by the time that he does, this cornerback, and that's Stephon Gilmore, a veteran who's seen it all, is going to be converging on that. So what I want to show you guys here is watch when Freiermuth catches his football. It's zone coverage, and so he's running away from leverage, but that's not, all that nuanced, all that technical. But when he catches the football right here, 2 hands on the football, he's bracing for that contact so he can finish that catch if there's going to be a collision as soon as he's catching the football, knowing this corner was sitting in the flat on this play, and then he's able to actually turn it upfield and get a couple yards out of it. But whenever he made his break, he's identifying this corner being flat and knows that corner's probably going to get vision and drive on the football and maybe hitting him the second that Freiermuth is catching it. Now, Gilmore kind of gets in the way of Deontay Johnson here, and that kind of is what helps avoid that initial contact. But you're just seeing Freiermuth be conscious and aware this cornerback's, flat again. We're getting cover 2, and so I'm going to really protect that football first. And that's partly what makes him such a good contested catcher, where this guy does not drop many passes because he's so aware that's the first thing to take care of. And so right there, 2 hands on the football, bracing for contact, and then whenever he doesn't feel it, he's then getting upfield. So it's just a good priority of kind of working through the catch, securing the catch before we're too focused on getting upfield. So just a good feel of what the overall coverage was here from Pat Freiermuth. Last example from this Colts game, and we're going to go back to the tempo aspect against Kenny Moore. And again, how do you create some of that space and separation against guys who are more athletic than you? You're going to vary up your tempo a little bit and really have more burst at the top of your route that's going to try to create that space. So I've spotlighted Freiermuth. He's going to be down here in this kind of bunch, set, basically calling it a bunch set. It's a little bit looser than maybe some bunch sets, but you get the point. But you're watching Freiermuth at the top here, a little bit slower off the ball. Again, part of that is as his kind of bunch and stack distributes itself, but you're watching Freiermuth here, just a little hesitation and then really bursting at the top here to create some of that space against that nickel cornerback, Kenny Moore. And again, a really nicely thrown ball on the far hash from Kenny Pickett to Pat Freiermuth. But you're just seeing that burst, that tempo. You can see it right there at the top. He's going to really then accelerate. He's not coming out fast. And so forcing Moore to kind of sit and be patient and not quite sure, is he going to break inside, going to break outside, go vertical, and that's going to create that space, again, against these more athletic cover type corners. So just watching him vary that tempo in some of these more man coverage situations is what's creating that space. Moving on now to the Atlanta Falcons game, and here is Freiermuth in this number 3 in this 3-by-1 set. And again, a bit of that pre-snap motion that Matt Canada likes to run to help ID coverage. You're getting a zone look here with nobody really moving with Freiermuth. There's no guarantee of that being zone. It's not 100%. Defenses are pretty smart too, but you do get zone on this play. And so like an earlier example, that feel of that leverage, the safety rolling down, and you're going to see Freiermuth just slide away a little bit. Again, it's subtle. It's not anything over the top. Obviously, you have a route to run. You have space that's your own, but he feels the safety rotate down here post-snap, and so as he turns and settles, he's sliding away just a little bit, just so that safety makes a tackle, but is not going to impact the catch point. And so that's going to allow Freiermuth to make this catch and obviously make the reception and move the sticks here on this third down play. And so it's small, it's subtle, but just that feel of, okay, we're getting, we might be getting too high, might be getting cover one, not quite sure. You're seeing the rotation post snap. We're going to settle away from that defender just so that he has to go even further to be able to try to impact the play. And so we'll see it here from the end zone view. And that was Richie Grant, who's a pretty physical safety. So he's the guy that's definitely going to hit you. So you're working away from that. So Freiermuth, he's going to probably fall out of frame here just a little bit, but you see him here working away from this defender. It does go into the other window, but again, enough of a space there where a well-thrown on-time football allows Freiermuth to make that catch and convert. Another example, the longest reception of the year for Pat Freiermuth, and I believe at the time, or maybe even for the entire season, the longest passing play of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Here is Freiermuth to the bottom as that number 2 receiver, and again, just a subtle sliding away from the defender, using leverage, working away, and finding that open grass while showing your numbers to the quarterback against this zone coverage here, against this linebacker, this hook zone player, and then it turns into a great break tackle opportunity where Freiermuth is able to make a couple guys miss, and I think he gets 56 or whatever the number was off of this play. But it's just that subtle. We're going to find space. We're going to move just a little bit here. Not necessarily, how it's technically coached. I'm sure there's obviously some coaching point to it, but, just a little bit of subtlety and nuance in our route here to create that space, and turns into a really big gain that gets the whole sideline going. I think he was running down. He's like Cam Sutton. There's Cam Sutton. Gonna miss Cam Sutton, but not gonna miss Pat Freiermuth's route running because it's here to stay. Last example comes on Christmas Eve against the Raiders. Didn't talk much about scramble drills, honestly, just kind of going through the tape again. Didn't see a ton of plays in terms of like true scramble drills where Freiermuth was getting himself open. Not a ton of opportunities necessarily for that either, but you get one here late in this win over the Raiders. And just scramble drill, this play breaks down, just running this hitch, not here, not open initially. Obviously, Pickett, sliding, scrambling to his right. Freiermuth finding grass, not just sitting. He's going to run away from basically calling that man coverage with this, how close this defender is and making himself open, being able to box himself out. And again, a really nicely thrown pass by Kenny Pickett on the move. So you saw that a lot with Ben, obviously in his heyday, but just Freiermuth basically scramble drills, find grass, get open, sit if it's zone, get in the quarterback's vision, run away if it's man. Typically, shorter routes go longer routes try to come back to the football, but just basically, backyard football at this point. Get open, make yourself open, run away from leverage, and you see Freiermuth do that here for a big-time conversion on the sideline. So that will wrap up today's video again with Freiermuth. He's not the best athlete in the world. Obviously, he's not, Gronk or Travis Kelce or some of these great tight ends that are breaking into the league this year. Your Dalton Kincaids and Luke Musgraves, guys that are super natural, super fluid, and run 4.5 something. But Freiermuth, a good athlete in his own right, and a guy that really understands, again, the things we talk about: tempo, leverage and feel, and the stem of your route. You do those things, you're going to be open, and the best receiver is an open one, and that's ultimately the only thing that matters on the football field. Not what your 40 time was, not your vertical, but can you get open? If you can, you're going to make money in the NFL. And Pat Freiermuth, provided he stays healthy, had the concussion problems, but he's on his way to secure that second contract and be one of the better tight ends in football. So that's going to wrap up today's video. Appreciate you guys watching. If you guys could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I'd really appreciate that. Again, thank you for listening and watching, and we'll talk to you soon.